Hello and welcome back to the fourth quarter. Today we're looking at every NBA team's future, how they're going to be in 5 years. We're going to have some hot takes in here. We're going to see so we got our categories, right? We got perennial contenders, future is bright, win now mode if they draft sign well, rebuild now, and future is bleak. The thing with a few of these is say you look at future is bright and you look at win now mode. One's not necessarily better than the other. Obviously for the future is bright, but win now mode doesn't mean this year only. This means their window is now until their players leave their prime. So we'll see what teams go there. And then future is bright is a young team that isn't really competing for a championship this year, but next few years, oh boy, get excited. All right, so let's start off with the teams. We got the Milwaukee Bucks, who I believe should be rebuilding now. I'm doing another video on this. You can check it in the card thing if you want, or check it after this video. But the Bucks, I believe, should rebuild. I love Giannis, and they'll be a good team as long as Giannis is on the roster. But the rest of the team around him isn't good enough. Miles Turner was a good signing, but getting rid of Dame in the aggregate, kind of sinks, makes it a little bit worse. But I think they've made some solid moves. I think Kuzma was a bad move. This team, the roster construction around Giannis isn't good enough to win a championship. It's good enough to get them to be in the playoffs every year, so they're not going to get top picks, so they're not going to get a second young star. If they get a young star to pair with Giannis, that'd be incredible, but it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. And honestly, as much as I absolutely love Giannis and I would love him to stay on this team, I think that them trading him would actually be the best thing for both him and them, because then they could get a generational haul and really start a rebuild. And I think the future would be great if they traded Giannis, because the amount they could get for him, as long as they make the right trade, of course. Next up, we got the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are entirely dependent on their drafting, mostly signings as well, because they have a lot of cap space too. But the thing with the Nets is they have so many picks. They have 5 rookies this year. The thing with them is that they really need to get a guy, and maybe one of these guys turns into it, but with the amount of picks and capital they have and cap room, they're set up to possibly be very, very good. But as of right now, they don't really have that guy yet. There's no one that really is jumping off the page as me, that's their core centerpiece. Kenan Thomas is good, but not that good. He's a good 6-man off the bench scorer on a top team. I feel that's his ceiling. And they have so many assets, so they really could have a bright future, but it's just a dependence on how they use those assets. All right, next up, we got my beloved New York Knicks, and they're definitely in win now mode. This is a team that is straight up, all their players are in their prime right now. They're all under contract. They have no picks left. Everything is based off the now, right? They have a few guys who are young on the team. The thing is that they're not old. They're in win now mode, but they're not old. Their players are all under 30 still. Their window is the next 4 years, I'd say, until these guys are all a bit older, to resign and whatever. But they have everyone under contract right now. I love their roster construction. I like what they're doing. I think they're just very much win now. Obviously, you don't have the picks, so you can't put them there. And perennial contenders, once these guys are out of their prime, you might have to re-sign them, whatever the contract situation ends up being with guys like Brunson, OG, Cat, Bridges. Once these guys are out of their, they're getting to their 30s, it's going to be a little bit different looking. But as of right now, definitely win now mode. Definitely, they can win the championship this year, next year, next few years. All right, Toronto Raptors. They really do have. The thing is, you look at the Nets, right, and you look at what I said about the Nets. They don't have that guy yet. I don't think the Raptors should be here, even though they do have a guy. They're in a different situation than the Nets, because the Raptors, I think Scottie Barnes is amazing. I'm a huge fan of Scottie Barnes. I think their problem is their roster construction. I think they have a ton of really good young pieces. The problem is with those young pieces, too many of them, and the fact that they got Brandon Ingram, too many of these guys play too similar, and they don't fit on the basketball court together, and there's no floor spacing around them. And I think that's really a problem. RJ, Scottie, Brandon Ingram, that's not Jakob Poeltl, that's not the floor spacing is just straight up not there for them. And I think they have the pieces, they have the assets, they have a star in place. I think they just need to really make some, they need to trade some of their young guys, maybe Brandon Ingram, really get some different personnel on the team, because it's just too many guys who play too similar, which is funny to think about. But I do like the team. I think they have a lot of young good guys. I love RJ Barrett. I love Emmanuel Quickley. Obviously Scotty Barnes, Podol, Grady Dick. They have a lot of good guys, but I don't like their roster construction. All right, Utah Jazz. Very similar to the Brooklyn Nets, where they're kind of no main guy. They have some solid guys, but Lauri Markkanen, you got Walker Kessler. You have some solid guys, but I don't think that's enough. Obviously, I don't think it's stars, and they should maybe trade them. Honestly, get a decent hauls back for them and just really rebuild. I mean, they've Ace Bailey now. We'll see what he turns into. He didn't want to go there, but he's there now, so we'll see what happens. All right, next up, Houston Rockets, and the future is bright in Houston. I would put them in perennial contenders, honestly, but the thing is, Kevin Durant's not going to stay that long. He's going to retire eventually, so future is bright for sure for them. Besides Kevin Durant, and they definitely compete this year. I think they're the top of this tier. They're very between those two, but I think with Kevin Durant, it's this team is so good. They got the scoring they needed. They have just made great moves all around. Their defense is insane. They have so many good young guys. This team is really very well set up for the future. And the now too. I think if the rest of these guys can really do well come playoff time, you get Sengun, you get Thompson, you get a lot of these guys really, if they could step up their games in the playoffs, this team is going to be very, very good for a very long time. All right, next up we got the New Orleans Pelicans. Future's bleak. Really bleak. They just traded their first round pick next year. I do not like that move at all for them because I don't think they'd be that good. Their best player is Zion, and obviously, you know the injury concerns with Zion, and he's an amazing player when he's healthy. But the thing is that even if you trade him, he's not going to get the value that he's really worth as a player because of the injury concerns, and teams aren't going to want to take that on. And I really think that this team is it's good, but it's not good. It's fine. Healthy, fully healthy. It's fine, right? It's not a horrible team fully healthy, but the thing is it's never fully healthy, and they don't have their own pick, and that team is just rough, and their assets don't get them that much, to be honest. It really doesn't get them a crazy amount. It's hopefully they can make some good moves, and every team, if you really make the right moves, can really change your trajectory, but as of right now it's looking pretty bleak for the Pelicans. All right, next up we got the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Lakers are in a weird spot because last year easily here, right? LeBron, AD, older team, win now mode. Now I'm going to put them here. They're in an interesting middle spot where they are in win now mode. They're similar to the Rockets where it's they're in win now mode with KD, LeBron, right, until they retire, and then they go into a lull. But they also both have young guys completely. The rest of the team, I think the Luka trade really accelerated the Lakers' future. They would have had to go into a full rebuild post LeBron if they didn't get Luka, but they did, and they signed him. That's especially why I'm putting them in futures bright, because they signed him to an extension. Now Luka's going to be on the team for a while. This team's going to be good this year, and I don't know much longer LeBron plays, but until he's done playing, and then they have a year or two of being not that great. But if they keep making good moves, and obviously when LeBron retires, you have a whole max spot open up, and people are going to want to play alongside Luka, alongside Reeves, and alongside a lot of these guys. So we'll see what happens with them, but they're nice. They're going to be nice. All right, next up, we got the Chicago Bulls. And this team kind of pains me because I don't think their future is that bleak. I like Kobe White. I like Buzelis. Giddey's good. They have good young guys. I just think this team is just kind of directionless because they're not. They need more, but they're not going to be able to get more because they're too good. But they're not too good. But they're too good to be horrible. And it's kind of screws them over because they don't get any top guys in the draft. Because they draft really well, they can really do something. But unless they do, it's the thing is all these teams, right? You get a GM who makes the right moves, right? You get a guy who's about to break out. You just get to steal the draft. You can accept everyone. Future is bleak doesn't mean it's going to be bleak. It's the current outlook. But any good GM work can really change this franchise. And I think they still have pieces, which is good for them. I really love Kobe White. That's their main piece, which I really like, and I think he can be one of the better players on the team. A very good team. All right, Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to put them in perennial contenders, our first perennial contender. I think Edwards is 23. They've shown that they're willing to really build a team around him. The only thing is that they're a little bit scared of the second apron because that's why they traded Karl-Anthony Towns, but they still got guys back and they still built a good team around him. Back-to-back conference finals, and Ant's only getting better. Definitely going to maybe eventually a guy wants to play alongside Ant, like another top guy. We can see that, but I really think this team's going to be good for a very long time. As long as you have Ant Edwards, you're going to be very good. I think it's a lot of these teams. Like, as long as you have this guy, you'll be very good. All right, next up, we got the Portland Trailblazers. They made some decent moves this offseason. I'm going to put them in here, though, since they don't have that guy. They have Scoot Henderson, who's very good. I think he has good mentors, too. Dame and Drew Holiday. That's pretty awesome. Dame not playing this year, obviously. I don't think he's really part of their future plans. Coley's back, but nothing too crazy there. I feel like, especially him not playing this whole year. Drew Holiday, that was a good signing. He just raises their floor a lot. They make them a lot better team. Denny FD is a good player. There's a lot with this team that's solid. They just don't have that guy yet, so they still need to make good moves if they really want to be good in the future. But they'll be a solid playoff team for sure, I think, in a few years. All right, next up, Denver Nuggets. Very similar to the Knicks, right? All guys in their prime, pretty much locked up. Jamal Murray, you have Jokic. As long as you have Jokic, he'll be amazing. Jokic is older than Edwards, or else I'd put them higher, but they're going to be amazing. I don't know how much longer Jokic is going to play either. He almost retired a few years ago, which is crazy. If you ever read up on that, that's pretty crazy stuff. Yeah, so Knicks and Nuggets are pretty similar. You know, they're definitely going to be competing for a championship every year. They have Jokic, and he's in his prime right now, and that's exactly where you want to be in life, to be honest with you. Except there's one place you'd rather be, and that's Oklahoma City, because this team should almost honestly get its own tier. Oh my God, this team is the most well set up team in probably NBA history. Holy cow, youngest NBA champions. They have an unbelievable amount of first round picks. Everyone's kind of under contract for the most part. Yeah, as long as the second apron doesn't absolutely obliterate them, which it could, I guess, in a few years. We'll see how they structure their contracts, how they deal with that. But the amount of draft capital they have, how young their team is, they just won the championship. They're only getting better. Yeah, no, there's no debate for Oklahoma City. All right, Memphis Grizzlies. I'm going to put them in the future as bright. I think their future is very bright, and as long as they have health and they have their guy, they have Ja Morant, they have Jaren Jackson Jr., just traded Desmond Bane, but they got a lot of picks for him, which is awesome. Desmond Bane's an amazing player, but the haul they got for him was incredible, and I think their future is very bright now. They need to make the right moves as well, like these teams, but I do think it's more of a sure thing than the rest of these teams being good in the future because they're already good now and young. This team is going to be very good very soon. Dallas Mavericks. Weird team, right? Because obviously they're so definitely easily here, right? If they don't get the first overall pick at Cooper Flag. But now that Luka's gone, but they got Cooper Flag, and now this team, I'm still gonna put them in the win now mode. They're win now mode, but they need to reset their window once AD and Kyrie either retire or whatever get worse as they get older. They need to like rebuild, like retool around Cooper Flag. They're gonna have to retool soon, but as of right now, they're in win now mode, and they still have they got Cooper Flag, so one of the best young pieces in the entire NBA to build around for the future. But they're gonna have to actually do it because just him alone, which in 5 years it will be, is not enough. Obviously, I believe they can and will, yes, but the pieces aren't in place yet. So win now mode for sure for this team. And the Spurs are another easy future is bright. You have Stephon Castle, you have Victor Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox. You have so many guys on this team that are just unbelievable ball players. Super great future. Hopefully Wemby's health is not too bad with those blood clots and stuff, but everything else stays the same. This team is going to be very, very good for a very long time. All right, the Phoenix Suns. Ooh, yeah. Other teams have your picks. You have just terrible roster construction. You have like 30 shooting guards. Jalen Green's okay. Devin Booker. As long as you have Devin Booker, you'll be okay. You'll never be a horrible team. But that Bradley Beal deal was the worst thing that ever happened to this team, and they completely sold their championship window by doing that, and now they're slightly selling off. Kevin Durant trade was pretty good for them, but this team is not great. And Hopefully they can improve a bit in the future, but as of right now, the Phoenix Suns are in a tough spot. Clippers are also in win now mode. I don't think they're as good as these other 3 teams in here, to be honest, but that is they are win now mode, and they are a very good team. They're old. Their picks are pretty much all, not all, but they're in OKC. They are good. They're not. I don't think they're good enough to win championships, though, which stinks, because I love Chris Paul back with them. They're all old, and it's a fun team. I think the Clippers are a very fun team. Also, I like the new logo. I wish they had that on here. But do I think they're going to win? No. But they're by definition, they're in win now mode. Golden State, honestly, the same thing. As long as you have their windows until Steph retires. As long as you have Steph, you're going to be very good. Jimmy Butler, playoff riser as well. He's old. Draymond Green, old, playoff riser. Great players on this team. They could make some noise in the postseason. I don't think without any more big moves they win anything. They had a very, very quiet offseason, but as long as you have Steph, man, this team is still in win now mode. Detroit Pistons, the future is bright. Do I think they could be a perennial contender? Yes, but they just lost Beasley, which sucks. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's official that they lost Beasley, but they lost Beasley. Obviously, they have a Thompson twin. They have Cade Cunningham. Very, very good team. Future is very bright in Detroit. Still need some things to put together. They took the Knicks to 6 this year. I think they're definitely going to be like a solid seed in the postseason again this year. Future is very bright in Detroit. I'm not going to put them in perennial contender because I don't think they're a contender yet. But they could sneak by and do like a 2021 Atlanta Hawks, make the conference finals, do something like that. Kind of crazy, but I think that's about their ceiling, and that's their ceiling. So I'm going to put them in future bright for now, but I think it's very bright. Future is bleak. Sacramento Kings. Yeah, this team has nothing going on, to be honest. They were a really fun, like, just made the playoffs, won playoff games, won a playoff series for the first time in a long time. The fans were crazy, light the beam. That was an awesome season. But then after that, they just did not do the right things around them. They have 2 old guys who were all on bad contracts. Honestly, I would get rid of Sabonis if I was them, because they're kind of wasting him there. And I feel like you could get a decent haul for Sabonis and really, kind of excel your rebuild. But I feel like you almost have to give up stuff to get rid of the rest of their guys. Their contracts are too big. Maybe at the deadline you could try to move them. But the team is just like, it's too many old pieces for a team that's not that good, and it's just not going to work out for them. Cleveland, I'm going to put them in a perennial contender. I don't think they're as good as the other 2 teams in here, but I think they're very good. You have Evan Mobley. You have, obviously, Donovan Mitchell. You have Darius Garland. You have a very young, very good team. You won the conference. You won the best record in the conference last year. This team is very good. I don't know if they're enough to win the championship right now. I don't like their backcourt defensively. I don't like Donovan Mitchell and Garland next to each other. I think they give up way too much on the defensive end to really win a championship against any of these top teams, because if you look at the other top teams right now, right? Look at Oklahoma City. Who's the best player? It's their point guard. Look at Minnesota. Best player, shooting guard. Knicks, best player, point guard. Like, all of these top teams, like Lakers, Luka, like, so many guys are all... Fred VanVleet, like, you have so many good guys. John Morant, you have De'Aaron Fox. Like, you are going to get torched by these guys, and I think the matchup problems caused by those 2 defensively in the backcourt, they're just too small, is going to make this team not be able to win anything unless they make a big change to the roster. But that roster is still very good. They're still going to be a top seed every year. They're still going to make noise in the playoffs, but I do have a bit of a gripe with this team, but I think they're definitely going to be a perennial contender, and I think they can easily make a move to make themselves get to that next hump. Boston, same thing. With them taking a gap year this year is interesting. Obviously, you still have Tatum and Brown, and you still have a bunch of other guys around them who are very good. You still have Derek White, and you have a pretty deep bench. But the thing is, this team is taking a gap year. They're not going to be that good this year. But I fully trust that front office and everything they do to continue to put it in a contender. They've been a contender since 2005, 2008, whatever it was. This front office has consistently shown everybody that they're going to continue to be a contender year in, year out. They're going to make the right moves. They've made the right moves consistently. This team is going to be so good for so long, and except for next year, they'll be fine. They'll still be decent, but I still will put them in the perennial contender. This is an interesting team because this team's in a very different situation than the rest of the teams in this room. This roster is absolutely insane. It's so dependent on a few things. One, can Paul George turn it around this season, and or can they get off his contract? Also, how is VJ Edgecombe going to be? I think they drafted well. I like VJ Edgecombe a lot. Obviously, you just can't say anything until he's actually in the league. I love Jared McCain. Can he stay healthy? Can guys stay healthy? And Joel Embiid, is he going to be what he was before, number one? And number two, is he going to play like enough? He's so good. He is obviously he's Joel Embiid, but this team is in the same category as these other teams because there's too many what ifs. But Joel Embiid is healthy. This team is in win now mode. Even I would even put them proto contenders because they round other guys around them. But we have to see that first. That has not been shown to me in a long time. But yeah, put the Sixers there. They're in a little bit of an interesting spot. Hornets. I'm gonna put them here as well. I think their future is bright, like pretty bright, but they need more. And the reason. It's the same reason Boston's here is the reason that I'm not putting the Hornets here. It's because I don't trust their front office to make the right moves. I think they need to prove it to me rather than I trust them to do it. Like the Spurs, I trust them. The Hornets, I don't. So that's why they're here, in my opinion, because I just don't trust their front office to make all the right moves. They have LaMelo Ball, who's very good. They have Brandon Miller. I'm not going to mention the other guy who's very good on the team, but this team is very good. They have good young pieces. They're not very good, obviously, but they have good young pieces. They just need to put it together, get guys around them, and they have the ability to, but this front office has not shown me enough to put them any higher. Washington Wizards, though. Hot take. I think the Wizards have a pretty bright future because of a few things. One, I love their draft last year. Sarr, Bub Carrington, two of the best rookies last year. They have a lot of picks. They have, I think, getting off Poole and Kuzma. Even they say they've got these old guys, but these old guys are solid mentors, and their contracts are going to expire soon. Getting off Poole and Kuzma, I think, was so important for them. Yeah, no, I just think the Wizards actually have a decent amount of pieces for the future. I think they drafted very well, and I think they have continued to. And I honestly really believe in this team and their direction, which is a bit crazy to say. This team, I'm going to put here. I think they're going to be good starting next year, and I think they're going to be good for a long time. I think they're going to be a contender in the East every year. I think the Desmond Bane trade was amazing for them. Absolutely perfect roster fit. Paolo and Franz are only going to get better every single year. And the thing with this team was they desperately needed floor spacing, because people talk about like the Orlando Magic, right? They talk about their lines like when Paolo and Franz play together, their record isn't as good as games where either just Franz played or just Paolo played. But I think a problem with that was the floor spacing, and I think also sample size always can just, bad games happen at the wrong times to make it seem like, oh my god, this is crazy. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing, and I think the thing was a lot of it was with floor spacing, and I think Desmond Bane, you get a volume shooter like that, that's just a perfect fit. It's an absolute perfect fit on the Magic roster. I think he was the perfect guy to get. They paid a lot for him, but I think for the perfect fit, you do that, and I think both teams are happy with what they got in that trade. And this team is going to be good for a very long time. They're very young, and they're already very good. They really got their first taste of that this season. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see that the Orlando Magic are going to be good. Miami Heat, I'm going to put in rebuild now. They should rebuild. I am scared for Heat fans that Pat Riley decides not to, because he doesn't want to waste his last years being a GM as rebuilding. I think they have, if they sell off Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, a bunch of guys, Jaime Jaquez, even possibly, they have a lot of good pieces to trade. They've got trade chips, and they could get a lot and really excel a rebuild and become great soon. My fear is that this team doesn't do that, stays stagnant in play-in land forever, and without Jimmy Butler now, this team is just not, there's not much, really. It's good. They're good. That's like the furthest term I could use for them. They're good. They're not going to do anything, though, and they should rebuild. Will they? No, which would make me want to put them here, but they should rebuild, and because their pieces are so valuable, I think that they can, and I would put them here. Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks last year, I genuinely would have put here. They really had an unbelievable offseason. I think they had the best offseason in all of basketball, and I put them all the way up here. Obviously, low-key looking out and getting Versace first overall last year at the draft helped a lot too with excelling in the future. They got that. and they made a bunch of very good moves. They have the Pelicans first-round pick, which is juicy for next year, and they made a bunch of great moves around Trae Young. This team's just really, they were good for a few years, and they kind of fell off, but they kept all the same pieces, but they really retooled amazingly this offseason. I think they had a fantastic offseason. We'll see if everything plays out. Obviously, you could always, the offseason winner in the offseason never ends up being it because, you know, guys end up doing different in different situations, but very, very good choices this offseason by the Atlanta Hawks. All right, next up, we got the Indiana Pacers. And the Indiana Pacers, I'm going to put in win now mode. Unlike the Celtics, they haven't proved that they're going to consistently retool the team and do everything perfectly, and I think if they kept Miles Turner, maybe I'd put them in perennial contenders, but they're kind of in a similar situation where all their guys are in their prime. They don't have that many young players. They lost Miles Turner, which hurts a lot. They lost Halliburton for the year, and we'll see how he comes back, which hurts. Siakam, they still have Siakam, who's amazing. They still have a very deep team. They're still going to be good this year, but this is more about next 2-3 years. They're in win now mode. Let's see what they could do now that Miles Turner's money's freed up. But that was a huge loss for them. I think this team is very deep, and it's good, but without Turner and Halliburton, it's going to be tough for this team to really win anything right now. But I have nowhere else to put them, considering the fact that they are kind of them and the Celtics are doing the same thing. They're both taking gap years and then going right back to competing, which is such an interesting thing. But the Celtics front office made much more of a point to do it than the Pacers. But their Pacers are more so forced to do it. But that's besides the point. With both of their best player, second best player out. I think Siakam is better than Halliburton, by the way. Yeah, this team doesn't have too much. They were just in Game 7 of NFL. That was their chance, unless they make good moves. But I think losing Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner is just too much. All right, thank you guys for watching. This was the fourth quarter's future outlook for the NBA. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree with me, agree with me. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You know, like I could do like little shorts. Think of doing shorts for questions, like a bunch of shorts just answering like questions. So if you have questions, you could be featured in a video. They're pretty sweet. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you see when those come out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching and have a great day.